As 2022 is making an entry, I have received a lot of requests from friends to give my opinion. I will concentrate on those factors of Indian economy which are specifically important for people as well as for the banking industry. The common scenario is that COVID-19 is still playing out and all the dimensions are not known. New variants like Omicron are coming, but one thing is becoming sure as data pours in South Africa where it started, it was contained within 6 weeks without any major fatalities or without any major amount of challenge to the healthcare as well as economic systems. We are expecting that in 2022, the worst that could happen is about 6 to 8 weeks of disruption in the first 2 months of the new year. What we are seeing outside of pandemic are an interesting mix. The first one is that inflation has raised its head world over. The US inflation is now well over 6.5%. The European inflation, including UK inflation, is well over 5.5%, and the other major economies such as Singapore, Japan and Australia, also in the emerging countries like India, the inflation is not looking like going back very soon in 2020. This is caused by two factors. The first one is that the savings that has been there for a long time in the pockets of the consumer is coming back to be spent in the market because the supply side constraints are so high, which is likely to continue into 2022. We are not going to see inflation coming down very soon. What will happen with this? Now the feel good factor of low interest rates is bringing a lot of foreign investments into India because there is this interest rate arbitrage or the return arbitrage. Once the Fed and the developed market central banker start raising the interest rates, some of these money could fly back into the original home markets. The stock markets can be in for some correction. In India, what we are seeing is a little different. COVID playout has given lot of forbearance to the debt market or to the loan market. How the banks will emerge once Reserve Bank of India has stopped its forbearance and stopped its liberal policy regarding NPA recognition and how the asset quality will behave makes 2022 a little more uncertain. The fiscal expansion policy, uncertain kind of policy rollout. There are a lot of accommodation which are going on. The central banks are keeping the interest rates deliberately low in order to keep the growth momentum up. Governments are trying to put more and more money in the hands of the consumer with the hope that these will spur the economy into the growth path. How much direct benefit transfer will be effective depends on both technological efficiency, which will depend upon what is the authentication mechanism and also what is the leakage that may happen during the transmission. What is happening to the mega reforms? Looks like the banking sector privatization, which has been put on a pause mode probably because of the elections and other political consideration, may be revived towards the second or third quarter of the year. Now this year's budget, because of the major financial regions, is likely to be a growth-oriented budget and it will not push many mega reforms. The banking sector will depend on lot of institutional reforms which are unlikely to come very soon. After the insolvency and the bankruptcy code, no mega reform has been rolled out in the policy making space. If these get delayed, 2022 will remain uncertain. Lot of small banks and shadow banks during 2022, because of the origination and collection problems, are likely to get into a phase of difficulty, but this will correct towards the end of 2022. Rural economy, the semi-urban and the tier 3 and tier 4 town economy will continue to play a big role because consumptions in these areas and a good monsoon will define 2022. So in some aspect, it will be similar as 2021 and 2020. In some aspects, the recovery will be sustained. So it will be a mixed bag in 2022. Thank you very much.